Hmm. Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Maggie, and welcome to the M&M Debrief, the podcast where Mike and Maggie discuss the top stories in politics and sports and try to make sense of the headlines. Mike, do we have any follow-ups to the last episode?
Yeah, I got a few here. I wanted to do some follow-ups on the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. I mentioned I do a little research on that. So there are 4 locations, 2 of them in Texas and 2 of them are in Louisiana. They're in salt mines, salt caverns down there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, the SPR, the statutory minimum is 252 million barrels. We're currently 311 million barrels. So we're getting close to the statutory minimum, but that's not the actual engineering minimum, I guess. So we're going down to 5 to 8 million barrels a day. So we're not that far off. We're going to get down to the statutory minimum. And I don't know exactly what statutes and laws get kicked in when that happens. So we're down about 25% from December. We're over 400, like 409 or something in December.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're at 311. So slowly kind of grinding it down. The GAO is saying that despite having all these barrels in there, we actually may lose 100 million, mainly because of just mechanics, just trying to get everything out. And if we get to the point where we're literally down to the bottom of the barrel, we may not be able to get everything out of it. And they're estimating we could lose up to 100 million trying to pump out every last drop.
Oh, my God.
And a few people are saying now that the actual structural minimum is 70 million. And that has to do with pressure, the volume of everything being in there. You'd think pumping the water in to replace the oil would help the pressure. It's kind of iffy on whether putting fresh water into the salt mines and turning it into brine actually has some sort of structural effect on it. But so, I mean, all that means is I think we're okay for the time being, but once we get down, to under 200, then we got to start thinking about what the reality is of how this is going to work if we're going to keep using this to keep our gasoline prices lower. So
Right. And of course, if you want to replenish the reserves, it's going to be very expensive.
Yeah, that's another part when you supply and demand. Let's assume at some point everything gets settled down and straightened out or whatever. We gotta replace all that.
Chances are that's not happening. So we're going to have to replenish with very expensive oil. And that's
yes, there you go, honey. You
take.
got a degree in business there, or
It's called common sense. Sorry.
Did you get a degree in economics? Well,
I've been to Costco. I know how to look for a deal and buy cheap, and store it up and save it and use it later.
Okay, yeah. Yes, there you go. All right. And I mentioned the countries that's across from the el-Mandeb Strait. So you've got you got the Strait of Hormuz that we've all heard about now for months, and Oman is on the other side of that. But over on the other side of the Arabian Peninsula, where Yemen is the el-Mandeb Strait, which is the other problem child, I guess.
Yeah.
On the other side of that, it's in Africa, and it's right about on the border of Djibouti. I guess the D is silent. Yeah, D is silent, I guess. Djibouti and Eritrea, the 2 countries there in northeastern Africa.
And now everybody's going to be very familiar with those countries, aren't they? Because now they're going to be in the news because guess what? Iran is now shutting off the other, route into...
Right, exactly, right. So...
accessing the oil. And so if you thought you were screwed before, it's going to be doubly so now.
Yes, because they were routing about 5 million barrels through the Red Sea and out through the el-Mandeb, and that's now cut off. So there's that's another 5 million barrels a day that are out of commission. Plus all the other stuff. It's not just oil; it's other goods that are coming through there.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's Djibouti and Eritrea are on the other side, and so it might be a thing because people might try to scoot through. They've been trying to scoot through the southern part of the Strait of Hormuz by Oman. They might try to do the same thing at the el-Mandeb, get over by Africa and try to scoot through there. But I think the Houthis can kind of take them out no matter that strait is actually skinnier than the Strait of Hormuz, and
Easier
so
to pick them off, isn't it?
Yeah, the Houthis will probably still be able to take them out, but you never know. So if you hear anything about Djibouti and Eritrea, that's what's going on. It's on the other side there. Speaking of the Strait of Hormuz, we talked about whether it's international waters or not. So just mechanically, it is Iran and Oman territorial waters. You got 12 miles on either side, so that crosses over. However, there is something called the UNCLOS, the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, for straits used for international navigation, which are subject to something called a transit passage, which is safe passage through the normal mode of transportation or transit. So it's a submarine or whatever you got.
Anybody can go through. It's free parking, free space.
Yeah. Yep. Except here's the caveat. The U.S. never ratified it. And,
whoa, I bet they're mad now.
Yeah, Iran signed it, and they never ratified it either. So this UN, I don't know what it is, a resolution or a law or something. Not a law, but it got created and discussed, and it's been kind of accepted, but apparently it's not binding in any way. So, and the UN probably doesn't have as much power as they think they do. But there is something that was written and discussed about exactly this situation where it's territorial waters, but it's used for navigation of international trade.
Iran is not supposed to be charging people to go through it. It's not a tollway. It's not a...
Right, but we live in Trump's world now where you're just going to do whatever the hell you want, and if you don't like it, stop me, right?
Try stopping me.
We're in Trump's world now. I'll do whatever I want, and you don't like it, stop me. So Iran is saying, hey, you don't like it, stop me. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander, I suppose. Is that what I heard? All right. And then I got, that would be the UNCLOS, UN Convention on the Law of the Sea. And I got one more. I'm kind of bummed about this. I had mentioned a few episodes ago that it was kind of in doubt whether Lindsey Graham had actually died in America, that he might have actually died in Ukraine, and they kind of covered it up a little, or the timeline didn't quite work out. But me and Claude did the math, and apparently he did make it out. He did actually get on the train out of Kyiv, get on a 10-hour train ride out of Kyiv to Warsaw, got on a plane, which is another 10 to 12 hours back to Washington, D.C., and actually made it home home in time to die. So I'm sorry.
I'm sure it was grueling, Dawn. I'm sure it contributed.
Might have contributed, yeah. I was hoping for a conspiracy there, but
out,
yeah,
traveling for 20 hours.
Yeah, so I was hoping for a conspiracy, but sadly, a 71-year-old man just had a heart attack. So, oh well, or aortic dissection.
Good lesson.
Whatever it was.
Not everything is a conspiracy. That's true.
So let's get into it's basically the World War. I'm gonna just call it the World War. We might have to do a deep dive. When exactly is I think I'll start referring to this as World War III, but everything's kind of combining. So since our last episode, normal stuff, tankers are getting shot at, planes are getting shot at. Trump is getting on Truth Social and just yelling at the Iranians, and the Iranians are just sort of sitting there drinking their tea, doing nothing. I think the generals or the admirals...
Aren't they attacking other countries?
Nah, it's slowed down a bit. America has stopped, and I think the ammunition crisis is starting to be a thing. I believe the generals and the admirals sat Trump down and said, "We are
slow down, Buster. Slow down, cowboy.
We are about out of ammunition.
The good stuff."
Good stuff. And I think they told him, sir, if we could open up the Strait of Hormuz, we would have done it by now. Most of the planes and equipment are going into either Tel Aviv or Israel or the United Arab Emirates, because they have a little bit of a golden dome. They got something from Israel so some stuff might be in the UAE, but most of the equipment's going into Israel. But we slowed down the last couple days, and I think it's just we're just running out of bullets, I guess. So, but there was one huge change. I think it was today. Hamas came out and said they would disarm if there's some sort of peace deal that involved Israel getting out of Gaza, which won't happen. But the Hamas did say they would disarm if a peace deal involved Israel getting out of Gaza. So that was kind of a major development. What will actually happen with that, I don't know, but we'll see. I don't see Israel getting out of anywhere. I don't think. I mean, they slowed down in Lebanon. They're building walls now in Gaza, but walls around the walls. So we'll see. But Hamas coming out and trying to present an olive branch, I guess, is progress. So
Sure.
I think they realize the Israelis aren't ever going to stop. So there's no point in them trying to throw up their arms, because if they throw up their arms and say we give up, the Israelis are just going to go in and kill them anyway. Yeah.
Well,
So
which is what they're
they
doing.
think they view it as hopeless, but I don't know. I'm not in
It
the
does
mind of
sound
Hamas.
hopeless.
I think they're counting on Iran taking Israel out. I think the next phase in this over the coming months will be Iran against Israel. It just Iran is the only one that seems to give a shit about the Gazans and the Palestinians, and just whether they consider it in their best interest to keep doing that and try to get some worldwide goodwill or not. I don't know. I think they're just counting on the Iranians kind of bailing them out. That will take a while. That'll take a while. But most of the action in the world, though, seems to be over in Ukraine and Russia. The strikes are getting deeper on both ends.
Deeper into Russia?
Deeper into Russia.
Oh, okay.
Russia's now taken out Odessa. I think they've kind of the port of Odessa, and so to screw
Really?
with the Ukraine.
That's huge.
Yeah, that was a few days ago, but that was gonna screw with their wheat exports. The Ukraine being a
That's
big wheat.
a huge port. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing a few guys saying Russia's actually winning, which I don't get. But I think Russia has a better supply chain. They can probably go on an extended bombing their industrial structure. It produce, I think, more drones than Ukraine, but Ukraine is getting drones from Europe and other places. That's why I think it's more likely that Russia is going to hit something in Europe. I don't know exactly who, but they view them as the Europeans are helping the Ukrainians.
Yeah, they're
And
defending the Ukrainians. They're
so
defending
they're
themselves.
gonna try to hit them. I'm seeing a few guys that I respect, kind of saying it's just a matter of time here. They think Russia's gonna just grind them down at some point. I don't know. I don't quite see it, but I'm also seeing a lot of stuff about Moscow digging in, getting rattled by the hits coming into Moscow. Yeah, so I really don't know which way it's gonna go.
Well, I'm sure, like anything, it's going to go back and forth and back and forth. I mean, I think
Mhm.
a couple of weeks ago we were saying Ukraine was winning, and then Ukraine hit a Russian military transport that was bringing arms to Iran.
The tanker, right?
So
Yep.
what it sounds to me that it's pretty evenly paced.
Yeah. I
And yeah, that was actually a huge thing to lose Odessa.
mhm.
That's like a jewel in the crown.
I
Zelensky needs to get them out of Odessa. That was a big loss. But
yeah.
then again, if
Well, they
Ukraine,
haven't taken
yeah,
over Odessa. They've just sort of bombed the port.
okay, so they're going to need to open it again.
Yeah, you would think that at some
That's
point they would
crucial
just.
to their survival.
Yeah, you think they'd both go, okay, this is just stupid, but I don't know what
Well,
exactly
Russia's desperate,
what their
and
existential
so
thinking is. Yeah.
yeah, they're desperate. They want to hit back. They need a win. But if Ukraine is hitting Moscow and other refineries,
Mhm.
I'm sure Russia thought that Odessa would be an equal. Okay, so I'm not giving
So
up on Ukraine. Sorry.
yeah, I hope Ukraine gets to remain sovereign and on its own. We could do a whole deep dive on whether the expansion of NATO is an existential threat to Russia or not. I view Russia as the bully, but NATO is expanding more, and I think it's just countries want to be part of the West. They want to be part of a better, more vibrant
Like,
economy.
okay, so yeah,
So,
which came first, the chicken or the egg?
but
Russia attacks Ukraine. That makes Europe
I
nervous. That makes Finland and
I
Sweden nervous. And so they say, we want to get into NATO. Thank you very much. We need the protection
right,
now.
exactly, right.
Right. So
I think
it's
yeah.
Russia's fault. They started it.
I think Russia views it as them expanding toward them to attack, and I think the truth is that they just want to be part of a better, more vibrant economic environment as opposed to the Russia, which is so, and so I don't know. We shall see. I think we're kind of we've now been in this war longer than World War II, and it's just one country, whereas Russia was fighting a few other countries. And so I think they're just getting worn out. The people are just getting tired, and hopefully stuff will settle down here. But now with Iran thrown into the mix, now I'm not so sure. So
Now it's taking a different turn.
yeah, taking a different tone. Yep.
Yeah, it's not good to expand it. And yeah. So anyway.
Okay. That's all I got on the war. Let's go to domestic. All right. Well, the big news was Anthony Fauci hearings.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he basically took the Fifth Amendment on every question. His diaries got sent out. I'm not sure what he was thinking, keeping a diary on a government laptop. But
Yeah, so he's taken the fifth though at the hearings.
yeah,
I think that
so legally that was the right thing. He says anything, damn well they would have got him on something.
I was just saying that what happened was, and the reason why he needed to take the fifth is because Paul Rand and others are trying to place the responsibility for COVID, for the pandemic, on him. Now, as you remember, who was president when Fauci was in charge of responding to the pandemic? It was Trump. That's right. So what they're doing is trying to spare Trump and allow him to say it wasn't him, it was Fauci. All that Fauci did was stand up and say, "Okay, let's try to get a vaccine. Let's try and make sure fewer people die." So this is just an attack on Fauci, and anything that he would have said would have been used against him in a court of law and maybe, put him in prison, because that is what they want to do. They want a scapegoat. So bottom line, the only thing he could do was take the fifth and shut his mouth and say nothing and cross his fingers and hope for the best.
Yeah, I personally like Fauci. I'm gonna have to push
He's a
back on you a little bit.
scientist.
Yeah, I totally agree that if you've got this big mess, 1 million people dead, people want to blame somebody. But Fauci's not innocent here. He's, it's as far as the source of the virus, was kind of obfuscating that, hiding it. He had said came organically out of the wet market, when scientists that he talked to ahead of time were pretty much telling him, yeah, it pretty much came out of the lab and got accelerated in the market. And he was kind of saying it was the lab theory, was just conspiracy theories, but he was actually sort of agreeing with it. This is before the shutdowns actually started. This is in January of 2020.
And why did that matter?
Yeah, I know how much of this stuff really
it wouldn't have
mattered.
mattered. What difference does it make whether it came out of the wet market or it came down the street out of the lab?
Right.
Basically, everything was in Wuhan, right?
Right. He was, encouraging people to wear masks, encouraging shutdowns, and then so these localities and businesses shut things down. How much of it was actually his fault? I don't know, but
I think MAGA never liked the masks. A lot of people didn't like the shutdowns, and Trump needs someone else to take the hit for it.
Yeah, so if you've got someone who lost a business because there was a shutdown, was that really Anthony Fauci's fault?
It was a pandemic, a worldwide
there
pandemic.
was a pandemic, right?
A million people died in the United States because of this awful thing. And maybe 2 million would have died if Fauci didn't help, warn people to wear masks. And the truth is that they got the vaccine. That was a miracle. That was amazing. And every credit should be given to everyone who got that going.
Yeah.
So this is just very weird to be looking at the scientist, the one who was trying to tell people to, stay at home, don't spread it, wear a mask, take the vaccine. He literally has a history of trying to save people's lives. And now you're going to try and make him a scapegoat for the pandemic?
Yeah, there's a kind of a psychological where you gotta feel like you gotta blame
It's
somebody.
messed up. It's effed
Yeah.
up, really.
It does seem like they might have been involved with some gain of function stuff
And I heard
with
that was
Wuhan.
actually not true at all. So we need to check that.
Yeah, it's gonna take us a while to kind of get to the
I mean,
bottom of that.
Fauci wasn't
But,
involved in that.
yeah, he's
tries
not an
to-
angel. He's not anywhere near the villain that people are portraying him as. But he's not an angel either. So.
Yeah,
And yeah, that what people seem to forget is just the overriding circumstances. No,
That's Trump.
there was a virus that was going around killing people. So they seem to totally forget about the exigent circumstances, the overriding circumstances. But he wasn't exactly an angel on some stuff, especially with the source of the virus, where he put. People were saying it probably pretty much came out of the lab. He was poo-pooing that when he was
Trump
talking.
was the one that was coming out saying, no, it wasn't China.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was blaming China. So,
Mm.
just think about who he was reporting to.
Yeah, true. All right. So let's see. What do we got? We got Lindsey Graham's funeral. I don't know if you should look at the video of Trump sitting there, and there's a guy sitting behind him who's just got this awful look on his face because Trump's pretty much incontinent, and he had to sit behind him.
That's torture.
But I guess the real news out of that was that Benjamin Netanyahu came for the funeral, and he overstayed his welcome. He was there a couple of days, basically trying to calm everybody down. And since public opinion is turning against him, turning against Israel by the day, so he decided to come here and try to obviously pay his respects. So he stayed over a couple days to talk to everybody, Rubio and Hegseth and Trump and everybody. So exactly what they said, I don't know, but he probably told them, stay the course, we're winning, yada, yada, yada.
Whatever. He's so self-serving.
Whatever, that kind of stuff. But the look on the guy's face sitting behind Trump, you may want to Google that. It's kind of funny. You could tell that Trump's basically shitting his
really bad.
Yeah, he really smells bad. Apparently, now it's so bad that when you're in the White House, you can smell Trump coming.
God.
Because between the urine and the feces, yeah, it's pretty well documented.
Stinky Don. We're going to call him Stinky Don.
Hashtag Stinky Don? Okay.
Stinky Don.
Pretty well documented. Alrighty. Well, let's see what else we got here. We've got the Minnesota water system is getting hacked, and we think it's actually the Iranians. This might be the first salvo in the war. When Iran bringing the war to us.
Yeah, I think they've been actually doing stuff for a while, but this is investigators are saying that's Iran that's doing it, and they hit 36 municipalities in Minnesota. And basically they were offline for, I think, 90 minutes or so. Individually, they were all hit. So, and there was nothing happened to the water. The water's still fine. It's just they, got in there and turned off everything. And
who are the investigators? Were they Minnesota investigators?
I don't know who they were, honey. It was just generically said investigators. I don't know who investigates water utilities. I don't know.
It's a very specialized field.
I don't know. Sorry, I should have found that out for you.
I'm a water systems hacking investigator. Yeah, there's like 3 of us in the whole country. Yeah.
Well, there was something that happened a while back and in a different part of the country, and so now they're hitting Minnesota. It could be that there's a bunch of Minnesota people here. Iranians in Minnesota.
I mean, it just seems coincidental that we're blaming Iranians. It may be true, but it just seems very coincidental that we happen to be.
Yeah, no,
might be somebody else. Might be the Chinese. Who knows? Might be the Russians. Chinese could be anybody.
Chinese have anything against Minnesota.
Actually, the Chinese hackers may have taught the Iranian hackers what to do. The Russians are pretty good at hacking as well. So.
Apparently, they've identified it as being the Iranians, and the Iranians have been doing this kind of shit lately. Not just lately, even before the war started. So I think if it quacks like a duck and it walks like a duck, it's a duck.
Okay, Daffy. Let's see. I'm just saying it's easy to blame. We're at war with Iran. It's easy to blame Iran.
Just so happens
might be somebody else.
there is a country we're at war with.
Let's blame them. Maybe.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Let's see. Texas, Talarico. Is it James Talarico? I just saw on the TV today. He's up by 5 points. That's amazing.
It is amazing. It is amazing.
Albeit, I might actually faint if he actually wins. The Democrat
Well,
wins Texas. Jeez.
yeah. Did you hear what strategy the Republicans are using in Texas? They're trying to make him out to be less
like
than
gay or something.
100% manly, like low T. They're trying to say that he's vegan, and
Oh my God.
yeah, exactly. Which all
Not in
really
Texas.
indicate
Not in Texas.
exactly. And of course, he's not vegan. He loves meat. And, that's just how low the Republicans can go. So I'm amazed. It's great that he's still 5 points up, even though they have this big marketing campaign trying to tell people that he's, I'm not so sure about him.
Yeah, I mean, even if Texas has finally found a guy who's too big of an asshole to get elected, Ken Paxton, who's a friggin' pig.
He's so corrupt. He's so corrupt, and
he's only 5 points down.
Yeah, no wonder Trump. That's the shocking thing. What is wrong with people in Texas? Really?
All right.
It's no wonder that Trump picked him and endorsed him, because he's also corrupt. So together they can make wild corruption together, I guess.
Yep. Okay, I've got ICE is now going into airports undercover in plain clothes and messing with people on their any visa issues.
Yeah, they're working
trying
with
to get
the
on a plane or
TSA.
something.
Right, they're in cahoots with the TSA, who also report up into the Department of Homeland Security. So.
Yep. Yay.
Rats.
Yay.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to bring up, have we talked about the flock cameras at all? The flock cameras are starting to be a thing here. These are camera. It's
nothing to do with sheep.
Nothing to do with sheep, nothing to do with flocks of seagulls or anything. FLOCK. They're basically surveillance cameras that are all over the place now. And the thing with these is that they're not just cameras with 90 minutes of video or whatever. They got Bluetooth. They're looking at your license plate. They know exactly where you are. They can connect to your phone on Bluetooth and get crap off your phone while you're driving by them. That's way more sophisticated than your standard cameras, and they're starting to pop up all over the place. So there's a thing on TikTok where you can't go on and say, destroy these cameras. Here's how you can destroy these cameras. Here are the 12 things you can do to destroy these cameras. Well, you want to say, well, if you want to keep your flock camera running, don't do this. Don't shoot it with don't cover it with a Faraday cage. That might hurt the flock cameras. Please don't mess with it. Don't shoot an infrared laser beam at the camera. Don't go down and cut the power here, because that would not.
Oh my God, where are these cameras, honey? Can we identify them? Can we
just Google it? They're your standard. They look like kind of like a solar panel, I guess, a black little baby solar panel, I guess, and. Just Google flock camera. They're all over the place. So wherever you live out there, you want to just say, hey, do I got any flock cameras in Cincinnati or whatever?
Yeah, and these were put up by the federal government.
Oh, they're put up by local municipalities, I believe. I think these are, but they've started to become. I think it's kind of a crime. It started out as a crime fighting thing, but now the federal government is tapping into them, I believe. Because they figured, we got all these flock cameras laying around here. Let's start tapping in and going and trying to find Mexican people, because
So in London, they've had CCTV.
They got
cameras
CCTV,
all over the
right?
Place.
Yep.
Right, and that is used for crime fighting purposes. But you're saying it's not really about crime fighting purposes, that the government is jumping into it. Yeah.
It's morphed into tracking and whatnot. So wherever you live, Google, I don't know how radical you are out there, but Google flock cameras wherever you live, flock cameras in Omaha, Nebraska,
God.
So,
okay.
All right. And then I guess the last thing you got is just the markets. Stock markets look like they're starting to roll over with the stock market. You never want to call it, but boy, the chart patterns and stuff kind of looks like things are kind of rolling over a little bit. I would expect a little more of a drop and that'll get everybody spooked. That's why I brought it up, because
Well, that's
these
going,
these
yeah,
these people
go
only
ahead.
care about these people
Stock
care about
market.
the stock market. So if there's a 10% drop in the stock market, then that might get their attention about something. So I think people are thinking the AI bubble which is keeping the stock market going, is about to burst. But I just wanted to throw a little business news in there. Just to, may want to go to cash a little bit there,
Right,
in your 401k or something there for a little bit until things
right.
start heading back up, whenever they do. So
That's right. Honey, what have you heard about FIFA and,
Oh,
just a
thank
little
you.
sports thing?
Thank you,
Yeah,
honey. Oh, thank you, honey. I am
you're
sheepish.
welcome.
You're bringing up the sports department here.
Well,
Yeah, so basically FIFA is the worldwide soccer regulating body. They just ran the World Cup, and now they're trying to sell private equity or private shares in their organization. And this is with guess who would be in charge of the cash flow? Jared Kushner.
what?
They're trying to be like Donald Trump. They're trying to get Trump involved, and since the president of FIFA is a big Trump guy, and the soccer world is reacting with ungodly
Angry.
reaction here. It's like, no effing way. Like the
No.
UEFA, which is the world, the European. They basically took a vote and said, we're not going to participate in any World Cup if FIFA sells these private shares to people.
It's
Football,
already
soccer,
so
whatever.
corrupt, and now this is
Yeah,
just
yeah.
another. I think they were
Soccer is
taking
for
notes. Yeah,
yep,
taking notes from Trump
yep.
on, gee, how can we
Soccer is for everybody, and
take more money?
yeah. So Europe, which has got most of the better teams, said that they would not participate
Yeah,
in the World Cup if FIFA were selling private.
states.
So yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if all
Yeah.
these regional soccer associations got together and just made their own global and just
Right.
kicked FIFA to the curb here and
Right.
restarted their own. So
You always ask me at the end, like, what have I got to, do I have anything I want to add? So I do want to add something about Truth Social, which is Trump's little social media platform. He is launching the new API Truth Social, which is going to exclusively allow Wall Street to get first access to his Truth Social announcements, such as, I'm going to attack Iran, or I'm going to attack, what other country tomorrow. And I'm going to give you 2 hours head start knowing about what I'm doing so that you can place your own, hedge fund bets and
yeah,
whatnot so that you can make a lot of money. And he's going to charge $100,000 a month for the
a month.
privilege. A month
I feel
for
sheepish
the
that I didn't hear this.
privilege.
Jeez.
I know. So, honey, obviously, the rest of us won't be able to take advantage of that because we don't have that much. But
Well, I don't know. The corruption is endless. I don't know when are people gonna. I don't know
wake
what's
up.
gonna trip people off here to
When
get
are
the
they going to
pitchforks
get
out.
mad?
I don't know how. Yeah,
When are
right.
they
How
going to get mad? Yeah. And I have to say,
well,
too, I
there's
know. Yeah, go ahead.
many people who just aren't in the stock market. You and I are in the stock market, but
Right.
there's so
But
many people who
only
aren't.
40% of
They just don't care.
Americans are actually in the stock market, right?
Right.
Because who has money to spend on, stocks and
Yeah,
shares
the
when you have
masses
to
the
put
masses are not going
potatoes
to
on the
rise up
table?
until they can't put gas in their car and they can't put food on the
Yeah,
table. Then they'll rise up. That's what led to the French Revolution. So the stock market's
totally.
just kind of a TV show to a lot of people. But yeah,
Right.
the obscene amount of corruption is well, whatever.
Exactly.
Of course, doesn't surprise me a bit.
Yeah.
Geez, honey, you had
Yeah.
a sports item and a stock trading
I
item that I didn't
know.
have. What the heck's going on here?
I know. I'm getting mad, I think, honey. I think I'm just getting a little PO'd,
Oh boy, boy.
And I'm glad we get the opportunity to speak up and say what we feel. But yeah, no, this is getting ridiculous. The other thing I want to talk about is the DNC. They're running out of money. Ken Martin is the head of the Democratic National Committee, which is supposed to help Democrats get elected. They have very little money.
Didn't they
He's getting
mortgage? Didn't they
yelled at.
mortgage?
They
mortgaged their
mortgage
building or
their
something?
building, which I guess they've done that before because, you're going to win. It's a sure thing. So we'll
Uh,
get the money later. But they don't have a platform. They don't have a message. People say they're just banking on people hating Trump so much that what else are you
mhm,
going to go with, right? Who else are you going to vote for? It has to
mhm.
be us. So
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned that we don't have a strong alternative to MAGA, a strong alternative to Trump.
Well, look what happened when 3 DSA people won primaries. The entire structure.
Yes,
So, I mean, I'm not going to vote
right.
for a Democrat unless they're
No,
on board with the DSA crew.
right. I mean,
Yeah, I
the
mean, the people
DSA,
want to
some of
vote
them
for
are a
some
little out
people.
there, honey, in fairness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
they really
uh,
are. They really are. Some of them are a little out there. But I understand that the DSA is kind of a huge tent and you get people who are just, I want,
well, have you
universal health
with
care
with
and
with all due respect, honey, have you seen what they're for universal health care. They're for universal child care. They're for increased unions. They're for taxing
which
billionaires.
is all
That's
good,
Which is
exactly,
all
except there
good. Yeah.
are other
So one crazy person says something crazy, so what? I
well,
mean, you got
I
to do
think
something here. You
if
got to fight back
crazy,
with
whether it's a
something.
Trump crazy or
Mhm.
another person who's crazy,
Well,
crazy is not good. We don't need crazy.
I ain't gonna vote for the corporate Democrats. I can tell you that. I don't know if you're gonna, but I'm not gonna vote for Hakeem Jeffries or whoever my representative is unless they sign
I'm
on with something
I
change. They got
think
to change something, honey. Come on.
nobody's good.
Mm,
Nobody is
Well,
it's the
these
lesser of
DSA
two
people are
evils, I
trying to
guess,
be different. They're
honey.
trying to be different. So.
No, God bless him. No, I hear you. I'm just
Mhm.
saying that just
You wanted an alternate to the mega. This is an
I
alternate to the
think
mega.
the Democrats are very disappointing to a lot of
Well,
people.
I agree
They
with that.
should have a strong message by
Uh,
now. It's been a year and a half since Trump got
Embarrassing. Yeah,
elected.
it's beyond
Right.
embarrassing.
The
Yeah, I know.
fact
I
that
agree.
they do
People want
not
to vote for
have a
something.
strong message yet, and that's the reason why
Yeah.
they have no money. And that's the reason
Mm,
why they're not going to be as
mm,
successful as they could because they are
yep.
so weak.
Yep.
They're
Because
so weak.
if some people,
And,
these DSA people come up with a different message, and
I'll give
they
them a
get totally
message. If they
slapped
want to
down.
call me, I'll help them. But, seriously,
They they get slapped down, and then they wonder why they don't get any money. So, well,
disappointing. All
mm,
right.
it is.
All right.
Yeah, it's a
Time
bummer.
for yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Is that it? You got any more? Honey, you got to
No,
pulling a lot of
I've now gotten
items
a
out of
lot
your
off
head
my
here at the end
chest.
here.
I was holding on to that since Tuesday, and
Yeah.
thank you for letting me get it off my chest.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
So anyway, thank you, everybody. Uh, that's all we
Is that
have
it?
for
Okay.
today. Yes, we've kind of gone way over, hon. Please
Ooh,
follow, subscribe, or share. And thank you for listening.
thank you for listening to episode 30.
Episode 30. Okay, we're
There
getting
you
good at
go.
this, honey. Yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.